10 more seconds. All right, when we come to order, Chuck, would you have do a roll call, please?
Chairman Kohlmeyer,
Here.
Member Brush, absent. Member Douglas, absent. Member Herman,
Here.
Member McGuire,
Present.
Member Reimer,
Present.
Member Walker,
Here.
Member Englund.
Here.
Thank you.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And before we approve the minutes, we've got a new member attending his first meeting tonight, Scott Herman. Scott, it'd be like you to say a few words about your background and.
Sure. My name is Scott Herman. I've been in Lake Forest almost 6 years now. I currently live on the west side of town, 1100 Inverleith. I'm pretty active on the beachfront, on the sailing side, as well as the boating side there. My children have attended the Kinderhaven programs here, as well as other activities through Parks and Rec. And my passion really is the water side, as well as making sure that Parks and Recs continue to grow and give an opportunity for all the kids here in the community.
Thank you. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to have a motion, unless there are any comments, to approve the minutes of the May 19th and June 16th meetings of Park and Rec Board.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is an opportunity for citizens to address the Park and Rec Board on items that aren't on the agenda. I see we have some visitors, but you want to make any comments?
No, we're observing for a project my son's working
Oh,
on.
okay. Thank you. Welcome. Next, Peter Gordon's going to talk about holiday light installation. Peter?
Good evening, Chairman Kohlmeyer, members of the Park Board. I'm here tonight to seek approval to enter into a 2-year contract for the installation of holiday lights. As some of you may know, we're actually approaching our 32nd year of this great community event where the city illuminates the Central Business District with over 120,000 mini white lights. In addition to the fact that we also illuminate the berm over at Waukegan and Everett Road. For the downtown area, that's equivalent to over 2,400 strands of holiday lights. I mentioned earlier about the approval of a 2-year contract. The first year is the installation of all the holiday lights from scratch. So every other year we remove all the holiday lights. It's really an opportunity to give the trees a chance to breathe, if you will. It also gets rid of a number of the dead strings and allows us to start from scratch. Our lights and our trees can only hold about 18 amps, and as they grow, we have to make some adjustments just so we can illuminate the whole town and make it look good. The second year is what we consider a patch year. That's where our contractor goes in, removes all the dead strands, the strands that don't work, and then replaces them. So that's where you see the difference in the price for the first year and the second year. Over the last several years, we've been asked by the community to turn on the holiday lights in the morning for the commuters in the train. So for those of you who get up early enough, from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we have the holiday lights on. And then in the evenings, usually from 4 o'clock to 11 o'clock, we have the holiday lights on in both locations. Certainly, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, but we are seeking approval tonight for the 2-year holiday light contract with Green Solutions, formerly known as TLC, a group that has done work for the city in the past.
Any questions?
Two questions. One is, you use all LEDs, right? So it's just...
We do not use
not.
LEDs. Quite honestly, the lights are a little bit different when you go LED. It doesn't have that same kind of glow. It's a little bit brighter.
Right.
And although it might help us in the amps, it just doesn't have that same feel. It's a little bit brighter than we like.
I was wondering if that helped the longevity of it, go from a 2 to a 3-year instead of doing every...
It would, absolutely. We tried that once on our holiday tree. You may know that we set a holiday tree in Market Square as well as at the West train station. Those trees are usually donated by residents in town, and we didn't get a lot of positive feedback, keeping in mind somewhat of a conservative program. People kind of really like that kind of look. It's not too bright, doesn't take away from the storefronts, certainly during their busy season as well. But as far as the initial cost, we find that it's more. Certainly the longevity is there as well, so that's certainly a trade-off. We do purchase the lights. We go out to bid, so we're not buying them through our vendors, so we can actually achieve a cheaper price by doing that.
And how many bids did you do?
We mailed out 15. We got response from 3.
And the contract has already gone to the one that you've issued as a procedural thing? It's already been, they've already seen it?
Our contracts came back. We're before you as the first group to seek approval. It'll start usually October 1st. Takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks to install, and that will be the end of the first year, with the second year starting next year in October as well.
I see.
Peter, is On the Green Solutions, is that the incumbent? They've been doing it, or?
No, actually, McFarland Douglas won the last 2 years.
And why did they bid? Is that the normal bid that they had, or?
McFarland Douglas?
Yeah.
Well, you can see it's really close.
Right.
I
did you-
think, I'm sorry?
Why McFarland? Just because of the cost?
We used both companies, and they both met our expectations, so we chose the lowest bidder. We had no reason not to choose Green Solutions, again, formerly known as TLC.
You've used this low bidder before?
We have. It's something that we started about 10 years ago. Our forestry staff used to install the holiday lights. Certainly with things like Dutch elm disease, now emerald ash borer, our crews are better utilized in the field doing tree work and tree maintenance. And so we've had about 4 or 5 different contractors from an independent to concept management was another group, along with McFarland Douglas and TLC.
Have we done a cost impact on LED versus traditional lights?
Only on the purchase of lights. And the purchase of the, what
on
we
the
consider
electricity?
them non-LED conventional tea lights or Italian lights, are usually about 20 to 30% less per package.
And the environmental impact as far as energy use?
Well, with the ones that we're using, definitely more, but not any statistical information that gauges how much more money we're spending or how much more wattage we're using. Certainly that's something we can do now with the information that we have per strand. We can certainly extrapolate that out and figure that out.
And then are all the lights that are not, or the dead lights, are they all recycled?
They are. As a matter of fact, we have removed about half the holiday lights. The lights that we took, we got $700 from the recycling center in Roundout. So we're anticipating getting another $800 to $1,000. Obviously, the copper is where the money is in that, so we do recycle those. That gets turned back into what we consider the park's general fund, and then gets reallocated out. So if we were going to leave the lights on, we certainly would rather pursue LED if we could get the community to go ahead and buy into that look. But by cutting them out every 2 years, it certainly doesn't make good financial sense for us because then we're probably cutting out more live strands than dead at that point.
With McFarland, what, are they doing other stuff with the city?
They don't. They bid about 4 years ago. They do a lot of work in the city. Not only do they do holiday lights for City of Chicago, sometimes O'Hare Airport, they do a lot of their indoor floriculture as well as the hanging baskets. If you've gone to O'Hare, that's been a big client of theirs. Great company to work for, as is TLC. So certainly they're 2 reputable companies that have worked well for us. The nice thing last year is that we had the holiday lights installed in the evenings. So we didn't take up any type of retail traffic by taking up those parking stalls. You may remember that there's a lot of scaffolding in Market Square. There's already congestion in there. So I think we're going to approach TLC, and I think we'll find that they'll be receptive to working what we consider the night shift, 7 to 11, when a lot of our stores are closed, and then has less impact not only on the retail customers, but certainly the congestion of downtown.
I mean, there's really no cost difference between the two. So
There's not.
Is there any leverage with On the Green Solutions and the other things they're doing with the city? Is that one of the
This is the
reasons?
only thing that they do.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, you may have come across them previously. They are a golf management company as well. They may have bid on, the golf course as one of the vendors. I can't speak to that. I wasn't part of those contract agreements. So they are out of Clarendon Hills, so not necessarily a local company, as is McFarland Douglas is pretty much out of the city of Chicago.
So there's no other issues with McFarland? It's just
No,
for a couple $100?
that's it. Yeah, we enjoy working with both.
Now, this is a 2-year contract, but the cash flow will be spread over 2 years?
Well, the initial cost of $26,000 will be paid for the first year. The $9,400 will be paid in the second year.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I have a motion to approve this recommendation.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Me.
Motion carried. Next, Joe Mobile's going to talk about the lakefront concessions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We realize that we've had many questions regarding the concession operations down at the lakefront, so I'm here to provide information to you all as well as the community. We do have a concession vendor. It is a new vendor this year called RCA Chicago. They have been in the food industry serving since 2008. They own or manage, several businesses here in the area, including the operations at Elua Farm. Phil Coco, he is the manager of the beach and will be running the beach concession for us. They started operations on June 27th, and I'll get to the dates and things in a little bit. And they will be running operations through Labor Day weekend at this point. If the weather stays nice, we will be, working with them to see if we can continue operations until the weather. Their scheduled hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, they open at 9 and serve breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays down there as well. So 9 to 5 on the weekends. Why do we have a new service provider? At the end of last season, the vendor that we had chose not to return as our current vendor for several different reasons. Their agreement had expired, so the former superintendent had gone out and done an RFP to look for new vendors. Nobody at that point had replied or responded to take over concessions at the beach. So during that time, Director Swarthout had spoken with finance to determine what our next steps were, and it was determined that an RFP was not needed due to the size of the operations. So we reached out to several people, and RCA Chicago approached, and we interviewed them, contacted references. Steve, who is the owner, had a tie to Ruprecht, who was the old owner of the company down there, and Phil, with his connections to Elua Farm. It just made a lot of sense to bring this company in, as well as we didn't have, several options. Through the references, they were a highly recommended company. Elua Farm loves them, so we felt it would be a great fit to bring them into our operations. So in middle of May, we negotiated with them, came to our agreement, and then through the weather of early June and with the facility getting it cleaned up, operational, that's why we opened at the end of June, so that we could be ready to go the 4th of July weekend. Why we chose them, not only is their history here in the community, but their menu that they showed us was nice, and they are also have the history in the industry in the area. Okay. Services that they will be providing for us, daily operations, 10 to 5, 9 to 5 on the weekends with breakfast. They did add Saturday on there after I had created the presentation, so Saturday and Sunday breakfast. Now their hours are weather dependent. If the weather is bad, yes, they will close early. If the if it's nice but it's red flagged, they plan to stay open. They have a staff on hand that will be running, but Phil is also down on site running the operations. They also have a patio seating area, so it's not just the picnic tables that you find under the pavilion. There are tables and chairs down there to give it a courtyard, patio feel. And, they provide friendly, courteous staff to run the operations. Their menu, here's a picture of their menu. They start with just, it's a small menu. It isn't going to be the huge, elaborate operations that we have. It's not, the company that everybody's used to, but this is what they provide, from hot dogs and brats to salads to sandwiches, fresh-made pizzas, many different types of drinks as well as desserts. What's not on here is they do have the ice cream and candy and the soda things that, you know, have been traditional down there that all of our camp children and, you know, frequent visitors like to purchase as well. You know, I actually had lunch down there and had their pesto chicken sandwich, and it was really a good sandwich. So, you know, if you're looking for something, that's something I would recommend. Any questions?
Why weren't they sent the RFP?
The RFP was posted in 2 local papers, and Jeff, I can't answer that because I don't know who he sent them to individually. I know that the former company was not interested in returning it all, so they didn't.
I know we talked about it last
Yeah,
year when it happened, but it seems like it,
you know, Stu, when I picked this up, I don't know the background as far as why no one quoted or bid or where we're at. When I stepped in, I was given the opportunity to, you know, work with them to create the agreement. So I don't know why we didn't get anybody. I don't know who it was sent to. I just know that nobody replied through the ads in the paper.
in the process of the RFP, is that sent to local?
Yeah, 2 local papers. It was the, I believe, the Lake Forester, Pioneer Press, as well as the New
Not,
Sun.
not the advertisement, but companies, restaurants and all that in the local area.
You know, we reached out to a couple that just couldn't pull off the times and the service. You know, Left Bank was one of them. I spoke with Lane, and just something we couldn't work out the type of service that we needed to do. So, but he was interested. We just couldn't make it work.
Was the opening day that we actually opened this year the plan? Because it seemed like it opened fairly late this year.
You
and
know,
I
the
kinda
plan
concerned
was
about
the
that.
plan was to be open Memorial Day weekend when we opened.
That's what I assumed.
But with the delay in the agreement and the timing of, you know, selection and everything, that kind of made that very difficult to meet. So they took the weeks that we were closed and the first couple of weeks with the cooler weather to take advantage of cleaning the operations. Also, the former company had donated different items to the beach, and, you know, we were able to use for the city. They donated to the city, so we have some at the golf course, some at the beach. And so locating those, getting them clean, getting things set up, it just took that additional time, as well as for them to go out and hire, you know, enough staff to run an operation like this, as well as having Iowa Farm as well. So that was the delay. And I know it was a slow start getting it up and running, but, you know, I've been down there on an average of 3 days a week, and they have been open times I'm down there, and I had a great experience today. I was really impressed with the sandwich.
Joe, did you talk to Phil? I mean, is this just a stopgap, or is he interested in doing it?
No, he's interested in continuing, and that's something that, you know, after this year, we will sit down and talk about moving forward. It is a 1-year deal right now, so, you know, at the end of the year, we will sit down, whether it's a renegotiation or we might go back out. I, you know, have to figure that out as we kind of gauge where we're at, you know, throughout this year, and as well as the favorability, and see, you know, once people give it a chance, because it is a change, and, you know, change sometimes is not so comfortable. So they, you know, it's going to take people a little time to try it, and once they do, if it's liked, then we'll, you know, renegotiate. Otherwise, we'll go through the process again.
Joe, I know this is kind of new, you know, you picked up, or kind of halfway through the thing, but how are we getting feedback from people? Because I've been getting a lot of different kinds of feedback, and how do you use that in a constructive way to figure out what kind of changes or improvements or differences you want to do?
Steve, I have weekly communications with Phil.
No, I mean with not the vendor, but the,
Well, I take the comments, and I've only had a handful.
okay.
You know,
There's no
Or-
formal process, there's no
no, I mean,
surveys or feedback
I will
mechanism.
take those. I forward them on to him. I mean, he is running it. He is, you know, basically renting the space to run a concession operation. So I forward all of those on to Phil. I follow up and have weekly communications with him to see where we're at on, you know, the different items. The 2 that I've heard of was, you know, 4th of July, that was really busy. It was their first full weekend open. That seems to be resolved to where the food is better. I mean, you know, I was watching him back there making handmade pizzas today. So I think him being on site more, because his partner is going to be running Eloa mostly, so we'll have him, you know, dedicated. You know, and the other one was just the hours. You know, it's like they say they're open and they're not, and, you know, we've worked on that, and moving forward, we should see them, you know, open a lot more, unless we've got bad weather and there's no participation, because it doesn't make, you know, business sense to open when there's nobody down there. So, you know, we'll be monitoring that and working and communicating. It's just a process of, hey, they're new, let's get in there and.
Who makes that call if it's really crummy weather? Is it Phil or you? Or?
You know, it's Phil. It's him and his staff because he's got all the expense. So, you know, that's on him. You know, and we're working on a communication to where if he does close, he lets our beach staff and office and manager down there know so that we can either post it or, you know, he can let us know at the recreation center. So if we get messages or calls, we can let them know that, you know, that they closed due to weather. So, you know, we're working on those types of communications gaps as well.
A follow-up question. On the Parks and Rec website, do we have any information about this?
I know that it was
I didn't find any, so that's,
I know that there was a, you know, through our constant contact and things when they opened, I know we sent out, hey, concessions are open. I haven't gotten anything probably on our website, but that is a great idea and something I think we can, you know, post their menu and hours and things as well.
I think that would be really helpful for people. And then if it's possible, if they are closed, if it's something maybe we could post on the website. I was actually there Monday and it was a gorgeous day and it was closed. So,
Yeah,
I
and that's
think
what
that
we're,
would
and
help.
we're working on that communication, you know, where if they do close, letting somebody know so that it gets back up to our offices. You know, putting on the website, we have 2 or 3 people that have the access and ability to do that. So, you know, if they're there, definitely, we can update that as we do with other things.
Or even using that, the phone line where you can call in
Yeah.
and see if the rink is open, use the same type.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Joel.
Just one,
sorry.
if there is a way to get feedback to him to help sure he's successful in this thing, I encourage you, whether it's the website or the phone or something, that people could get, you know, give the feedback. You know, and maybe it is just you. I don't know if you want people calling you, but whatever that mechanism is, if it's on the website or whatever, if there's ideas or improvements, again, it's about being successful. So if there's opportunities for that to happen, you know, with feedback.
Yeah, no,
How
that's
do
a
you
great
collect
idea.
that?
And Steve, I would also, you know, just say that if you are hearing things, either shoot me an email or recommend that they do. And then that way I can guarantee to follow up with Phil down there. And you know, if there's problems, we want to know and we want to make it better. We want to resolve them. I mean, you know, the goal isn't to fail. The goal is to offer a service to the community that you know, is top notch.
Absolutely.
So if you hear things or anyone has any questions, just, you know, call the rec center. They can take it or you know, send me an email and, you know, we'll communicate it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the comments by acting director.
Thank you, Chairman. Couple of updates, but I want to start with a new program called Fun in the Sun 2K15, and I want to introduce Michael Kraft. He's with us tonight. He is the summer intern for the Recreation Department, and he's going to tell us about this program.
Good evening, Chairman and Board. As was stated, my name is Michael Kraft. I'm an intern this summer with the Parks and Recreation Department. In addition, I'm a senior at the University of Minnesota while entering my senior year. Within my internship, I've had the opportunity of working with a number of different departments, from Rob at Elowa Farms to the fitness center to working with the parks or even the front office. In addition, there's a number of events such as working the 4th of July Festival, the Continental Square, which are on Thursday nights, or the annual golf outing fundraiser. Minus those events, I was also tasked with my internship to come up with an event of my choosing. And after kind of thinking about it for a while, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to do an event that focused on individuals within our community and the surrounding community which have some sort of disability. The reason I came to this conclusion was after looking into what we offer as a park district, I noticed there isn't a terribly large amount of programs that cater specifically to this clientele, our clientele. And that's mainly not the park district's problem or issue, because we do have a number of great resources, such as NSSRA. With that being said, I thought it would still be beneficial to try to broaden our programs and try to implement a program that specifically caters to individuals with special needs. And that's kind of how I came to the conclusion of coming up with Fun in the Sun 2K15, which is a field day rotation style event. So what I mean by this is, with this event, there will be 4 stations, and in addition, there will be 4 groups. So the groups are based off age, because we want to cater to the most people we can. So from younger kids, maybe 1st to 2nd grade, all the way up to adults that might be living in a group home in the surrounding community. The events are made to be kind of inclusive and also so everyone can do it. So they range from kickball to a tie-dyeing to painting a birdhouse and something like that, and then finishing off the day with something kind of fun like a snow cone party. The target the most amount of people, we decided to make this event a free event, and also open it not just to Lake Forest residents, but also residents in the surrounding area. Now, since we decided to make this a free event, we had to keep the cost down, but the issue was to keep the quality high. So how we did this is basically one of the main issues when you're planning an event like this is staffing. So to keep staffing down, I reached out to Croya, and we were able to get a number of volunteers to help work that event. In addition, instead of getting hourly paid staff, we've reached out to full-time staff, which are on salary. So that essentially eliminates the staffing component of this. When it comes to facilities we use or equipment, like the snow cone machine, the kickball, if need be, the gym, those are all utilities and different products that are provided by the Parks and Recreation Department. So that was a cost that was limited as well. The costs that still are there are things like the snow or the tie-dye materials, the birdhouse, the painting supplies. And to pay for those costs, though they are relatively low, around under $200 when you add up everything total, we still needed to come up with that because there's not a specific budget for this. So I've reached out and gotten a sponsor. It's not 100% set in stone, but it looks like it should be good. And this, it's not a huge sponsorship, but it's something to cover the cost of this event. So really that is the brief overview of my event. When it comes to kind of getting the word out, we've contacted different organizations such as NSSRA, Lamb's Farms, and just shooting emails out through the marketing department in the rec, as well as posting flyers around town. You may have seen some. But yeah, that's roughly a brief overview at this time of the event. So at this time, I'll open up to questions.
Is this up on the website?
This is something that is posted. So with the transition to rec trick versus class, there was confusion with actually getting it posted. So this is an event that anyone, if you go to lfrec.com, you can look at this event and register. So this is something we're keeping track of. This event is something that we're hoping at a max capacity, it would be 60 people roughly, so you could have 15 in each group. At a minimum, we would do 15, and therefore we'd be restructuring it, so maybe there wouldn't be 4 groups, but you would still do that rotation section. But at this time, yes, it is online, and you can find it.
You might think about going to Patch or the other daily thing on the internet also to get some advertising there.
Yes, definitely. That would be something we could look into. At this time, though, the main marketing is through flyers, shooting out to organizations that specify in it, or using the marketing department. So it could be found, I'm not quite sure if it's been put up, but it could be found potentially, eventually, on the website and through emails that get shot out. Yes?
I know you said you were working with Croya. You could ask them to like maybe do like a Facebook or a tweet, because I know a lot of my friends on like Facebook, they like that. So anyone like my age would see that, and if they have like a relative or they know someone that would like enjoy this, they could do that too.
Great, thank you.
And the high school and schools have done some things, partnered with some other entities. You might want to talk to both school districts and just see if they have linkages to groups that would be interested. I'm just saying that because there's a couple of these events that have already been done this summer. CLASA did one, there's a couple other ones. So if you're interested in tying into something with those other groups that are affiliated with the schools, it's just an option.
Oh, most definitely. And we have been reaching out to the school districts too. The high school mainly. The middle school, it's been a little more difficult since summer schools are out. But yes, that is definitely a good suggestion to kind of reach out and broaden. And I would say that probably is our main downfall, is getting word out about this event and actually finding participants. And maybe that's because of the short notice of the event. There wasn't months of planning, and this is the first event of this kind, so that probably is running into issues there. But hopefully, if this continues next year, it can act as a stepping stone to maybe producing more programs that are inclusive, or just continue this program for years to come.
Do you currently have any registrants?
With the program that got set up, I haven't actually checked the registration number, so I don't know the numbers of the website. Hopefully, I'm hoping we do. With the technical difficulties that we've had transitioning, the registration process wasn't actually up until this week. So the program was in the system, but we weren't actually able to get it up. So I think that's caused issues for actually getting participants. But hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we can increase our numbers to make it a worthwhile event.
Well, it sounds great, so good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. This concludes my brief.
Chuck, do you have anything else from?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Michael. An update on the Everett Park Playground. As you know, we started the construction on that this summer, a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and I'm happy to say that everything has been installed equipment-wise. As of last Friday, everything is in place, and our park staff has been doing a number of installations, and they're getting pretty efficient at it. They enlisted the help of Public Works, and Forestry did some tree removals. There was a joint effort, but they hit it hard, and it's now in the contractor's hands to put in the stone and then the poured in place. So our goal, as you recall, was to be open before school starts, the second week of August. And it looks like we're in really good shape. I could see that opening the first week of August fairly easily. So very well, that's going very well. The second thing I'd like to talk about, at this week's Concert on the Square, we will be hosting a car show in addition to the weekly musical entertainment. The car show is a benefit for the melanoma research in honor of Chuck Requa, Martha Requa, and Ray Sorensen, of Black Dog Racing, put on the annual car show. Food can be purchased at the event through R&V Deli and Cassandra's Concessions. The band this week is the Rockin' Fender Skirts. Joe can tell you more about them. I'm not familiar, but I'm sure it's a great band that they've set up. Be sure to put this on your calendar for Thursday nights. Next item is the Lake Forest Day Run. We will be hosting our annual Lake Forest Day Run, 5K run, at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, August 5th at the Recreation Center. The fun run is a great way to start your Lake Forest Day festivities prior to attending the parade and carnival. Our 5K run sees 80 to 100 runners and families annually. Registration is currently being taken in our office at the Recreation Center. And finally, it's time to register for our fall programs. The program guide will be at the post office tomorrow and delivered to all Lake Forest residents. Registration for residents is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, August 4th. You can come in person at the rec center, or you can go to www.lfrec.com and register there for our fall programs. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Any comments by board members?
Just, I guess this is to Joe. Are those rain out things going to be made up, the concerts in the square, or are they just kind of a wash? No pun intended.
Yes, I'm working on rain-out dates. Tentatively, I'm still waiting to just get final approval that I can extend them by 2 weeks. But the Wichita Jacks, which was the first one canceled, will be tentatively August 6th, which is the Thursday after Lake Forest Day. And the band that was canceled, Class of 68, he's working on members, but that would then be the following week. So once we get approval, we'll be sending all that information out, but we are looking to make those up.
Thanks.
While you're up here, one quick question on that also. Is the reason, I mean, I'm assuming this is fairly common sense, but is the reason that we have only X number throughout the summer just a cost issue?
That is one, as well as because we're in the market square and the effect that it has on the local businesses, we limit it to the 7 weeks of, 7 weeks of summer. Traditionally, in the past, we've tried to do one after Lake Forest Day, and it was so poorly attended because of vacations and people getting ready for school. So that seems to be the life expectancy is the 7 weeks, and that's why. But, if we extend them and we get people, it can always be looked at to bring in some extra.
Do you see the antique cars as big as last year or bigger?
Yes, the NC Car Show, not only is Market Square closed down, but we will be closing that at 3:30 p.m. Thursday, so cars can come in and start to park. But we are also closing Western Avenue between Deer Path and Westminster at 4:30, and there'll be cars parked in that both sides of that road as well as the square. Last year's event, there weren't any spaces left.
Big.
And I would say we had close to, if not more than 1,000 people come through last year. So we're expecting, weather permitting, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful evening. Another huge successful event, so.
Thanks, Joe.
Anything else? Our next meeting will be,
I had a couple
oh, I'm
things,
sorry.
Charlie. Chuck, I don't know if this is addressed to you or maybe Peter, but who is maintaining the parkways in the, within the city, in front of the offices and stores and
There
3-hour
are
parking lot? I mean, it's a mess, weeds, everything.
two different areas. The trees are maintained by forestry, Peter, but it depends on the area, but if it's city-owned, it is our park staff, and we are trying to address some of those now. We have been working hard to get some things done this summer and try to get caught up, but the weeds are certainly a challenge, and as everyone knows, it's been raining a lot, and we've just not been able to keep up.
I mean, to walk through, it's just
Well, and I will also
turning
say,
to trees.
yeah, and we are taking over some areas that in the past have been maintained by either businesses or residents. So a lot of times if they stop doing that, we're called on to pick that up.
And
So
do the
it's-
businesses know that they're responsible for their parkway?
In most cases, they do, but as things change, we get calls from time to time, and this year we've gotten a few of them where people aren't clear who's maintaining what. And obviously, if it becomes a problem and we're aware of it, we reach out to them and we find out what's going on. So there's a lot of different arrangements. Obviously, we have our hands full, so we don't want to pick up more, and we appreciate when the businesses do their cleanup. So I know right downtown here, there's been a few that we just recently started to hit because they were getting out of hand. There's plenty more out there we are aware of.
The other question I had was the Lake Bluff, Lake Forest initiative that was kind of sidelined. When is that gonna pick up again? And if it's gonna be picked up, I think it should be, and we should really drive to get this thing going again. And
I don't have any information, sorry. I can talk to Director Swarthout and let her know your concerns with that. I have not heard anything about it myself either.
yeah, it just kind of died, and then said we're gonna pick it up, and it's
Get an update on that at the next meeting,
Yeah.
maybe. And the next meeting will, I'm sorry,
I just wanted to follow up. Have we partnered with any of the garden clubs to take care of any of the beds in town? Because I know
Yeah.
in Lake Bluff they do that, and there's a little sign. So I don't know if there's an opportunity maybe to partner with them.
We do, actually, and actually, we just had a meeting today, Civic Beautification Committee, and that's made up of the presidents and the chairs for the garden clubs, the four main clubs. And they do help us, particularly on some of the projects like Settler Square, that part of town. But there are a lot of projects where either they're providing financial support or helping do some new projects. So we are very involved with them.
And then, is there going to be an update on the sustainability survey results at some point?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are working on that. We have an intern that has been busy with that. We're currently doing the analysis on that, looking at the numbers. The survey has closed, so we're happy with that. And in October, I'm forgetting the date now, October 8th, there will be a community forum, and we'll be inviting residents to come in and give us input on sustainability. And we'll be presenting some of the findings there. So that's the best opportunity coming up, and that is October 8th. I don't have the location yet. I believe we're trying to work it out with Gorton Community Center. But that will, obviously, we'll get that news out, and we're hoping to get a good turnout.
Do you know how many people responded to the survey in general?
Yeah, I thought you might ask me that. I believe, and it was combined, we had Lake Bluff and Lake Forest, mostly Lake Forest, obviously. I think it was 475. I don't know if Trish remembers, but it was right around 450, roughly. So it was we thought a good response.
Anything else? The next meeting will be Tuesday, August 18th at Municipal Services Building at 6:30. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much. I don't get down home enough.